Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to EA Tetragrammaton. I forgot which game I was playing. Where we are playing This is turn 85. Let's jump into things. Okie dokie. We have completed Blood 5. We've completed Blood 6. On our way up to Blood 7. Leper Love has successfully empowered himself in Death. Hollow has successfully empowered himself in Blood. Apindra, the Raksharaja, has claimed the Throne of Abundance. Nice. We've got some more Kusarikus. We've got some more blood slaves. Nazar the Second has been attacked. Of course he has. He gets attacked every turn. It does not matter what is happening. Fortunately, this time it is just a Mind Slime Horror, which is dangerous, but it's not the most dangerous thing in the world. So, let's see how this goes. Tries to paralyze us. It soul slays us. Of course it does. The Celestial Chastisement tries to paralyze again. It does send off our Kusarikus, which is unfortunate, right? That our Kusarikus were unable to actually hit it, basically. Oh man. And then we come in and it starts swinging and trying to paralyze. It could definitely do it, and then we smack it. Okay. Done is done. Fantastic. We survived. We have survived. Yay, hey. Our god is basically just a horror magnet at this point. Every single turn he's going to get horror. He's going to get attacked. We don't really want to do anything with our god anymore. We just want to try to defend him as best we can and not put any more globals on him, because he's eventually going to get soul slayed again, and then we'll have to do the whole song and dance where we, call God him back, rinse, repeat, right? So, there's a battle in Ras. This is our thugs. Raiden against Miklin, who has, it appears to be a small contingent of slaves here. This shouldn't be any too big deal for us. Nice. Just fucking obliteration. Obliteration. Man. Ishib 19 did some work there. That was cool. Good stuff. Okay. Conquered a little territory. Very nice. And then we get to watch... This is fun. We get to watch a big battle. Lanka versus Femoria. See how this goes. Alright, so we've got a big old force from Lanka of mostly Rakshasa warriors. Very scary sacreds, at least in my opinion. We've got a whole bunch of Raktapatas in here. We've got a mixture of other things, like some gnomes in here, some shamans in here, some lizard shamans, which is cool. We've got some Raksharajas in here. We've got an Archdevil in here, which is dope. And we've got a Mandeha, which these guys are pretty scary. I think this is what I was talking about when I said they have Lanka has high level summons that are somewhat competitive to things like Demon Lords and Tartarians and Grigori. I think the Mandeha is what I was talking about, if I'm remembering correctly. So, because these guys are pretty strong. Got good paths. They'll fuck you up. So, anyways, and on the Fomorian side, we have a little bit less, but we've got some unmarked. We've got some mixed infantry. We've got a bunch of whites in here. We have a lot, we can see a lot of Numidian sorceresses. We've got some Numidian warriors. We've got no Fomorian kings, really, to speak of. No Fomorian giants, it seems. We've got a couple of unmarked champions. But yeah, so let us see how things go. Right out of the gate, the Mandeha has cast Darkness. And I think this is just a base, right? Eternal enemies of the sun, they are surrounded by perpetual darkness, for the rays of the sun fear them. So, they just have darkness, period. Real fucking scary. Okay? So it's hard to, because of darkness, it's hard to just like zoom out. So try to keep an eye on things. The unmarked begin to flood forward. We can see most of what Lanka has is either holding to attack or is on guard commander. The Numidian sorceresses open up with Horde of Skeletons, and that is something that they are very good at doing. But interestingly, we get a Blood Rain from the Raksharaja, and the Raktapada Communion, right? And then we get Rigor Mortis from the Mandeha. And that's interesting, coming into a scenario where you're going up against Femoria, which is really very good at producing undead, right? And going for Rigor Mortis is no, right? And then we get a bunch of different things, right? A whole bunch of Horde of Skeletons coming out. The unmarked are way out in the open, but they're not really doing much. The problem being, right? Oh no, they do have dark vision. Never mind. So their stats are fine. They've got shock resistance, poison resistance, and then marked are actually quite strong. Then we get wailing winds. Okay, so here's part of the problem, right? The unmarked are getting enveloped, right? And oh, that's a Fog Warriors that just came out for Lanka. I think really at the end of the day, there's just not enough as far as the Fomorians are concerned. Like, they don't have any battlefield enchantments going up, right? They're not Fog Warrioring their people, you know, that type of shit. If they had Fog Warriors on their people, then these Long Dead wouldn't be able to touch them. You know? And really, this would be a much longer battle, but Wailing Winds and Blood Rain has basically just wreaked havoc on the entire backline of the Fomorians. And he's actually sent a couple of Rakshasa warriors back here with Gift of Flight, which is interesting. It's kind of funny. Not many of them, just a handful, and they're just causing routes. More Horde of Skeletons. There's a bunch, like his communion, Lanka's communion is basically vaporizing Fomoria's undead. More of the Rakshasas are given Gift of Flight and come flying in. And this is pretty much it. Like, there's not really much of anything else happening. Blade Wind! I love Blade Wind. So cool. Doifa doifa. At this point, it's just cleanup. This guy's super cool. Igrak. Alright. Now, there's a bunch of little things happening in that battle that are very interesting, but the basis of it is that the armies were about the same size. 164, 164, right? I say about the same size. And Femoria had a lot of mages. They had a lot of mages. But they didn't really bring anything late game cast-wise, right? They didn't have any Fog Warriors. They didn't do something like, you know, Mists of Deception. They didn't try to, like, do a whole bunch of, like, what is it, Living Air or something like that. You know, they're at this point, Femoria should have Queens of Elemental Air doing big buffs, like Shimmering Fields or something like that. No Storm came out, so there wasn't any like big Thunderstrike communions or anything. It just there wasn't anything there, and they had the magic there, right? Their Frostfather could have done a lot of that stuff. The Dominion Sorceresses could have done a lot of that stuff. So kind of disappointed to see that at the end of that, all we got was some more Horde of Skeletons, and that was that. Very, very solid victory for Lanka, is what it is. And that is it for Moria. They are done. We've got a bunch of people leaving from Assad because somebody is casting melodies. We've got some people moving to Resting Heights. Got some nature gems in Scraw Point. Troll Peaks is continuing to obliterate itself. More diseases in Troll Peaks. I just don't want to touch Troll Peaks ever. And then what are we doing this turn? Okay, so most of what we are doing this turn is a continuation of the previous turn. We're moving a bunch of people around, moving to reinforce Silverfangs, so that we can kind of have a better structural control over that location. We are actually attacking into the Holy See this turn with 4 Ishibs, just popping in to cast some Living Water, and hopefully that will do it. 4 Living Water casts is 16 Water Elementals. Should be able to take out the Tritons. If they don't, that's unfortunate, but whatever, not a big deal. We are moving forward to attack Mictlan. We're splitting up Isham 1 and Ishib 19. This might result in the death of either of them. If either of them runs into stiff resistance, they would probably die. If it happens, it happens. Not super worried about it, but fingers crossed that it doesn't. And we are actually jumping the mountains from Sitha to Range of Shadow. We are going to, and I have asked Hinam if this is okay. They have not responded yet, but I'm gonna, forgiveness, permission, that whole thing. I doubt Hinam is going to care too terribly much. They just haven't gotten back to me yet. There's plenty of time left on this turn. If I need to come back and cancel it, then I will just head into Raz. It's just going to be an extra turn going around Range of Shadow than it would be to go through, right? So, I think, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1, 2, 3. We haven't really changed anything as far as this big group goes. We are reinforcing with another Air Gudu and some Boots of the Messenger. Just more gems. There is the chance that this army gets obliterated. There are plenty of things that could actually destroy this army. It's got a lot going for it, but some hefty, like one good super combatant could bust this army, because we don't have penetration on any of our communion masters to be able to really get through a lot of magic resistance. And even if they don't have crazy magic resistance, our communion masters are resistant to doing things like Soul Slay anyways. And we don't have any big killers, right? So another way to defeat the super combatant concept is to mix in with your big armies, mix in some super combatant killer thugs, right? Thugs that are specifically designed around the concept of just doing absurd amounts of damage, right? Because the way most super combatants win isn't by just slaughtering your entire army. It's by being unkillable, right? So a super combatant might be unkillable in having massive defenses and massive regeneration, and then they might slowly kill your army off with attacks, or they might have massive defenses and do some battlefield evocation, and your army dies to the battle evocation while they resist your army's attacks, or something like that. That's normally how a super combatant works, right? Is super combatants are just unkillable. Two basic things, right? Whereas if you bring in someone who, like a thug, whose whole point is bleeding damage or doing armor penetration, really crazy hits, right? Like with gate cleavers or things like that, you know? There's a lot of different ways that you can go about making a thug or a small contingent of thugs whose whole job in an army is to buff. Oh, the fight isn't done. That must mean there's a super combatant. Kill, right? So we need to get some of that going on. Unfortunately, I don't know that there are a lot of really good chassis in to do that, because you do want something that can kind of like buff itself. I guess moving something like an elemental shaman or an Enkidu shaman with the right kit could work, and Ishib could potentially work. I think one of the better potential options would actually be Ugalus, which we might look back into when we get the opportunity to cast things again, right? Once Astral Corruption goes down, we might look back into the concept of utilizing Ugalus, especially if we can get a Titan that has high air, and that could just like break us into better air access. Because the issue right now is taking a Gudu and empowering a Gudu into Air 3, and then you use a Gudu who is Air 3 to summon Ugalus who are Air 3, and it's kind of like, right? It works, but at this point, it's so late in the game, it feels bad, man. All right, so we might fish for a couple Tartarians and see if we can break into some nice air and then go into Ugalus from there, because Ugalus come with 3 air, and air itself isn't the greatest singular thing, but it does importantly allow flight, right? Although we can give flight in other ways. Regardless, though, Ugalus have like a whole bunch of HP, and they're sacred, I think, so that could be a good option. It's just something that I'm thinking about. So this army marches for Mictlan, and then you're going to see we are consolidating a whole bunch of stuff in Pirena, because this army, NC 7 plus NC 8 and a whole bunch of units, right? We're going to bring in Gudus from a number of different locations, are coming into Pirena, and they're going to have a force of close to 200, I think. That is then going to march on Jabal Kish, and is going to join up with the components of an army in the Trackless Wastes. So we have a force that can take whatever this throne is, okay? And then there's also this big-ass army led by the Lord of the Plague Wind, Azuzu, who just consolidated last turn. So we thought maybe they would attack Verdant Steppe, and they still could attack Verdant Steppe. But as we move forward, right, this is part of what we're doing with the consolidation that we're attempting. So we're going to see how that goes. We are continuing to kind of like evacuate out of Verdant Steppe. We've got a singular pair of Boots of Water Walking that we're pulling people over into Trackless Waste with. And then if we actually do get attacked, we'll Cloud Trapeze these Gudus out. And then everyone who's left behind will just have to die. There it goes. All right, that is mostly it. We're not really doing anything else special this turn. More Kusarikus, more Lightless Lanterns, more Alquills. Research is going well. We're going to hit Blood 7 this turn. We're going to swap to Thaumaturgy. We talked, from what we were talking about earlier, right, that concept of if we break into air, we could go to something like Galegate. Also, just having a higher Thaumaturgy can be nice for a couple of different other reasons. We'll see how we go. Getting up to something like Master and Slave could be decent. Undead Mastery could be something that we could use against Lanka, right? Lanka is using a fair amount of undead. And we've got some pretty beefy, between our liches now, we've got some pretty beefy undead death boys. So we could pop in and do something like Undead Mastery and just steal all of his undead from him, which could be cool. So yeah, who knows? We'll see how that happens. But yeah, I think that's it for the turn. Couple more turns. Hopefully we will just fucking kill Miklin's fucking Astral Corruption caster. That's all I want. That's all I care about. That's all I care about right now. This army is honestly kind of a suicide army in the hopes that we're gonna accomplish that. Yep. Fingers fucking crossed. Fingers crossed. All right, that's it. I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody.